Hello and welcome back to In Your Defense. I'm Attorney Steve Toland. Today we're going to continue our discussion about minors and alcohol. Last time we talked about minors in consumption. Today we're going to talk about minors in possession of alcohol. And we're going to cover the what, the where, and the how of minors and possession of alcohol. So what it is, again, if you're under 21 and you're outside of parental or guardianship supervision, you're not allowed to possess in any way alcohol. So that's pretty straightforward. That's the what. It's really the where. Where are your kids most at risk, and what ways do you need to talk to them about those risks? Because we know that kids under 21 don't always think these things through. So where you're most at risk is obviously like a nightclub. If they have a club in college where under 21 and over 21 patrons are allowed to enter, and they're sitting at a table and there's alcohol mixed in there, they can be accused and charged with that. In a car is probably the most common example, or a fraternity or sorority house, maybe in the alleyway outside, like a tailgate or a social gathering. It's through a Greek system party or some other event through school. Any of those scenarios are areas where you really need to talk to your kids about how they are not allowed to be in sort of any possession of an alcoholic beverage. So that's kind of the what is at risk there for them. And how do they prove this is the last thing I think it's important to talk to your children about. It's through this essential element of the crime known as constructive possession. So really, if you're touching it, if you're in control of it, or if you're in, and this is the tricky one for a lot of kids and parents likewise to understand, if you're in an immediate reachable area, what we used to call a lunge area inside a motor vehicle, for example, or if you're at a table and there's a pitcher of beer and there's cups scattered about, they're going to view that as sort of constructive possession. If you have the ability, the reachable ability to possess that alcohol, very likely then a university police officer or a municipal police officer or city police officer is going to charge your child if they're under 21 with possession, minor in possession of alcohol. So that's kind of the what, the where, and the how this crime works. The penalty range is just the same as it was for other Class Cs that we've talked about with alcohol. It's up to a $500 fine. It's not a jailable offense, but the big deal of it is that it can really impact when you're trying to get into colleges or you're trying to go into grad school or in employment applications. Because most of these applications, if not all of them, and I counsel families all the time in the last 20 years about this, are going to say any contact with law enforcement, not have you ever been arrested, because technically receiving a citation isn't necessarily an arrestable offense. So now applications always include that stuff. So you really got to talk to your kids about this before they finish their high school years and go on to college. As always, if you have any loved one, child, or family member that you know that is struggling with this issue or has questions about it, minors in possession or constructive consumption of alcohol, reach out to me or us here at Peak & Toland, and I'm Attorney Steve Toland. Thank you.